Thank you very much, Suzanne. It's a great privilege to be able to be interviewed by you. I really admired what European Times published last year on Rwanda, and I thought that was a great publication, and I'm glad you're following up. This is exactly what Rwanda needs, and we are very much, as a European Union, behind it. Well, we have a very close, very excellent state of affairs in our relationship between Rwanda and the European Union. That program that you mentioned, worth 460 million, was agreed last year between our Commissioner and the government of Rwanda, and I'm happy to say that we are surging ahead with putting it into effect. It focuses on the main areas of energy and agriculture, but also, and I think this will be of interest to your viewers, in the area of those who wish to invest in this country, potentially, we will also be supporting economic and democratic governance. And this means supporting those institutions which are there to run the country and run the budget. I'm delighted to say we have moved very fast with the government of Rwanda and their services. We have identified 450 million of those 460 million euros in terms of actionable projects. And we will be signing financing agreements for those projects in the coming months. So that has taken us a year, and that's quite normal, to plan what goes into the content of these programs. We have broad areas of cooperation, but now we have to go into the detail. Most of this will be budget support, which means money going directly to the treasury of the government, and they do with it not what they want, but what we've agreed to do together. But we are following government policy. These are not European Union policies that we're supporting, but government policies. So they've got what I call the five-star aid treatment, and that is a recognition of the rather sophisticated manner in which they're able to deal with technical cooperation, financial cooperation, and general budgetary matters. First one will be energy, and this is very important, particularly in the electricity sector. I think it's no secret that there is a shortfall in electricity production in this country, and access to electricity in rural areas. This can be solar or other forms of generated electricity. We have a Minister of Agriculture who has a very clear vision in terms of boosting the output of electricity in this country, and we're very much behind that. And electricity is fundamental to economic production. Investors want to see that there's a stable electricity supply that can meet their factory requirements or whatever it is that they're doing here, and I think that's fundamental. There are many fundamentals. Reducing poverty is a fundamental, and that is, let's say, the basis of all our work here is to reach out to all Rwandan citizens. I should say that's the starting point, and to reduce poverty. But how do we do that? We do it by electricity, and we do it by other means as well. We will be supporting the agricultural sector, so we feel that we're tackling this problem from two angles: helping farmers to grow the sorts of crops that they need to feed their families and also to feed the country. They have a very ambitious program. They've achieved a high average economic growth rate. Keeping that at 7 and 8% or more is a challenge in itself. Making sure that your foreign exchange reserves are correct, that your balance of payments are properly managed, and that your export earnings are encouraged and stimulated to a great extent, while at the same time meeting the needs of the population in terms of education, health, infrastructure, and generally raising the overall spending power of the population. I think these are the challenges, and the government is very much on the right track, and that's why we're supporting them with budget support programs. There will be challenges, longer-term challenges, in freeing up the regulatory environment facing investors, making sure that the good reputation already achieved in a transparent judicial system is broadened and deepened, that their tax regime is understood by all, because this is an area of great sensitivity to potential investors, and that the general business environment, which is good already, gets even better. And I know that these are the targets of the Rwanda Development Board and other agencies within government. And I wish them well in that. Rwanda is a very active member of the East African community, which has just expanded in numbers because I believe that South Sudan has now joined this elite club. But Rwanda has been very active, and you see with the frequency with which East African community heads of state summits, presidents meet to discuss practical problems, whether they're on the northern corridor linking Rwanda through Uganda, Kenya to the port of Mombasa, or recently we've just had the state visit of the new Tanzanian president, to cement that partnership and the inclusion of Tanzania in that dynamic East African community approach, with great interest in landlocked Rwanda, has for improving transport and traffic with the port of Dar es Salaam. So that is an admirable way that Rwanda seeks to overcome, which is an important challenge to it, which is being landlocked and quite distant from the Indian Ocean. I think we can forget the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. That is logistically too complicated. Relations with East DRC are important from a trade perspective. On the question of trade, one of the things that the European Union has done in the last year is to agree. We now have an agreement on the EPA, or the EPA, or the Economic Partnership Agreement, between the whole of the East African community and the European Union. And this seeks to generally and gradually liberalize trade so that we will end up having free trade between the two entities, with guarantees for those industries which feel threatened by some of our aggressive competitors from the European Union. We have all the checks and balances in there. But this is a clear signal to the investment and investor community that Rwanda is in a partnership that envisages improved economic and trading environment, and we very much welcome that. We haven't seen this agreement ratified yet by all the countries, but I know from ministers I've spoken to in Rwanda that they are very much behind that, and when the time comes to ratify, they will ratify. This is a very positive sign to us and to the European Union. I would say one of the fundamentals, if I can step back a little before I launch into this, answering that question, is the role of the European Union. We feel one of our roles in Africa and in this region, the Great Lakes region, is to promote security and stability. In particularly in the Great Lakes, Rwanda is a country surrounded by issues and problems in the east of the Congo, DRC, and now to the south in Burundi, rather difficult problems that risk to spread. And so we're very much engaged in, as the European Union, working with the African Union and the international community, seeing how we can address and support the stability in this region and in this country. That's, I would say, one of our starting points. And I believe we have a shared agenda on that. It's, of course, I have to say there's a certain amount of European Union self-interest in that, but diplomacy and politics is all about maximizing the amount of shared interests in trying to achieve a common goal. The referendum on the constitutional changes, our High Representative Federica Mogherini did issue a statement on behalf of the 28 member states, plus quite a few of the accession countries and partners of the European Union, expressing concern about what changing the constitution meant in terms of third and fourth and fifth presidential term mandates meant for political transition. And we're firm believers that a good, well-planned political transition is important for the long-term stability and prosperity of a country. This is not going to change. We expressed an opinion. We expressed our concerns. We observed that this was definitely the popular will of the people. There's nothing much more we can say on that, but we still have those concerns, not only in Rwanda. We have expressed them in Burundi, in Congo-Brazzaville, and in other countries where incumbent presidents have sought to, by one means or another, to continue their constitutional stay, or sometimes non-constitutional stay in power. But this is not going to alter the essential dynamics of the European Union-Rwanda partnership. We have been here for decades, since the 1980s, and we will continue to be here working with the authorities and with the population. And that's, I think, is the essential message for those investors with whom you seek to attract to this country, and we would encourage them to continue to be stimulated by the many great things that this country has to offer. It is true, I've been living here for 2.5 years. It is an extremely safe country to work in, and a very welcoming country to work in. And I think those who have worked in countries which are less safe really appreciate this very practical, charming, and revealing quality of life in Rwanda. It is safe. I would definitely say to your viewers and your readers that Rwanda is a great country to invest in. But they have to come and see for themselves, and I think by coming here and seeing, they will be convinced. The environment here fosters and encourages private sector investment. There are many excellent qualities. You deal with an administration which is very responsive to the needs of incoming investors, and welcome. Please do come here, and if you want to talk to me, I'm always quite happy to respond to their questions. But there are many here of much greater authority than myself who can respond to specific investment questions. So welcome to Rwanda, to those potential investors.